Carolina Panthers, Green Bay Packers. We got your preview right here, folks. Go ahead and tune in, and let's go.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Not a lot has changed for me when it comes to what this game looks like on paper, what my expectations are for the Carolina Panthers. But you know what? We got a few things developing, and we are slowly working our way there. Folks, we're back with our official preview. Sorry for those of you that like to tune in. It's a little bit later in the week, Thursday. We try to get this thing out by Wednesday if possible, but it's late Thursday evening. So I apologize. You can blame the producer of the show, which is me. The one-man show it is. We're going to go ahead and get into it, folks. Same preview that we do every single week. Taking a look at what we got going on here, folks. Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers. Panthers, of course, traveling up to Green Bay with the hopes that we get Bryce Young back. Seems like that's going to be the case. A lot of speculation about the carries between Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard. What is that going to look like for us? Well, we're going to discuss all of those things today. Get you caught up on all the other storylines as it relates to the Panthers and the Packers. Week 9, we are halfway through the NFL season. Hard to believe it. This far in, halfway through, officially halfway through, at least for Carolina Panthers fans, on Sunday at halftime. But let's go ahead and get this show rolling. Carolina Panthers staff, we're not going to go into too much detail here for Carolina Panthers fans, but led by none other than Dave Canales. If you're a Green Bay Packers fan, always have folks from other teams tuning into these previews. So welcome. Brad Idzik, Ejiro Evero, Tracy Smith. Got to say, very bad week for our man, Ejiro Evero, last week. No answer for the Buffalo Bills and Cook. Let's see if they can make some adjustments this week. It's going to be tough. I'm not saying it's going to be easy or that the Carolina Panthers are going to have a shot, but hey, let's just see a little bit of a rebound. I don't want to keep regressing back to what we saw last year. So one game at a time, one snap at a time. Let's just go out and prove that last week was a fluke, that we are not that bad, that we're not going to give up 200-plus rushing yards. That's all that I ask for. Green Bay Packers, go Pack go, for all of the Packer fans tuned in. Shout out to Caleb, my man, my friend. Green Bay Packers fan. Y'all guys know that my dad was a Packers fan. Unfortunately, I do think this one falls. Like we don't have to beat around the bush in my perspective this week. I toed the line on a lot of these. This one, unfortunately, and hopefully it comes back to bite me in the face, I am leaning heavily towards the Green Bay Packers. We're going to do our due diligence, though. That's what we do. Where can the Carolina Panthers have a potential opportunity to get something done? Anyways, led by Matt LaFleur as the head coach. Very good head coach, if I might add. I mean, that's just my outside opinion, but I do think he's a good head coach. Offensive coordinator Adam Stenovich, defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley, and special teams coordinator Rich Bizichia. Hopefully I say that right, Packers fans. Please forgive me. Fun times, man. Headed up to Lambeau, and that by itself, one of the holy grails, in my opinion, when it comes to the NFL and maybe all of sports. One of the coolest stadiums to play in, I think. I've never been, of course, but looks like a very fun time. And you get it in early November, so not too cold. 1 o'clock kickoff. Your head referee is Land Clark. We already know that Greg Olson's going to be on the call. Same team that was calling the Buffalo game last week with the Carolina Panthers. So you get them there. Carolina Panthers, and we get into this a little bit later, but 4-4. In the hunt. They are in the hunt. Let's hope that, the hunt doesn't stray away and we don't fall apart. Green Bay Packers, 5-1-1, sitting atop the NFC. Very nice from their perspective to have that tie much better than a loss. A win is good, but hey, a tie better than a loss. And so that's where they sit. Green Bay Packers lead the all-time series 11 games to 6, 11-6. They've won the last 3, and they are 1-0 against the Panthers in the playoffs. The last time these teams met, we all remember Bryce Young's rookie season. It was 33-30. Christmas Eve matchup. One of the better performances that we saw from Bryce Young. And, as we clung on to that season, clung a word, hung on to that season, was hanging on. I don't know where we're going there. Anyways, as we were sitting there watching this unfold, that was a moment where a lot of fans said, okay, maybe Bryce Young has some. I won't say a lot, some fans. We get into what happened last week a little bit later, but Carolina Panthers blown out 40-9. I watched the Monday night matchup with the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, 35-25. The Aaron Rodgers show, unfortunately, did not pan out. Dave Canales is 9-16 as a head coach in his second season now. It's about a 36% win percentage. 36% win percentage. Matt LaFleur is 72-34-1, which is about 67, almost 68% win percentage. I don't know why I can't say that today. Very good. 3-5 in the postseason. I know a lot of Packers fans would like to see them get over the hump. I felt like coming into the season that they were probably one of the favorites to get to the Super Bowl, or at least represent the NFC, compete. So there you have it. We do this every week. We talk about the status of the draft picks. There is a lot of production out of this group. Tedero McMillan on pace to break Panthers rookie records for receiving yards. I think he clears it as long as he stays healthy, knock on wood. Nick Scorching showing a little bit of life. Princely Umanmielen also showing some life, but likely out this week. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we get into the injury report. Trevor Etienne showing a little bit in the return game, punts and kicks, as well as getting a few snaps at running back. That's, gone down as Chuba Hubbard is back in the lineup. Lathan Ransom at safety. Cam Jackson, not so much in the mix. Mitchell Evans, 5th-round pick, one of my favorites as far as seeing his progress, as well as Jimmy Horn Jr. Really like what we are seeing out of this entire rookie class for the Carolina Panthers. Taking a look for our Packers fans, Matthew Golden, the wide receiver, one of the first wide receivers drafted in the first round in quite a while. If maybe all time. I don't know if it's all time, but it's been a long time since the Packers, and Packers fans know it better than me, since they've drafted a wide receiver that early out of Texas. Then Anthony Belton out of NC State, offensive tackle. Savion Williams, wide receiver out of TCU. Baron Sorrell, edge out of Texas. You have 2 guys that are battling on IR, at least as we record this. So Colin Oliver out of Oklahoma State. John Williams, the offensive tackle guard out of Cincinnati. Then you have Warren Brinson from Georgia and Micah Robinson. I don't think Panthers fans want to relive last week, if we're being honest, but we can relive it here. Might as well. 40-10 beatdown. Panthers hosted the Bills and suffered a huge loss, ending their 3-game winning streak, 40-9. Panthers offense struggled playing without starting quarterback Bryce Young, who was hurt. Backup Andy Dalton was at quarterback. We know about the thumb injury, the broken thumb, playing through it, but the offense was just terrible. I will give him a little bit of grace there. 9 points, 244 yards. Run defense was atrocious. Loss was described as a dose of reality for the Panthers, who had been on a little bit of a winning streak. Maybe does highlight the need to get Bryce Young back on the field and see what we can do. On the other side, you had Green Bay, again, taking care of business against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Prime time matchup. Just what you wanted if you were a Packers fan. Jordan Love had one of his best games of the season, got Player of the Week award, threw for 360 yards, 3 touchdowns, slinging it around. How about Tucker Kraft? Have him in fantasy. In the only fantasy league that I have, career high, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. Helped me get the dub. Helped the Packers get the dub as well. Game marked the return of wide receiver Christian Watson, who came from injury. He had 4 catches for 85 yards. Packers defense, of course, featuring Micah Parsons and Rashan Gary, stacking up consistent pressure, like all over the place. When I have the Packers and Panthers preview, it is very easy for me to intertwine both of those team names sometimes. Last 5 games for both of these teams. We just talked about what happened last week. Carolina Panthers were on a 3-game winning streak with the Jets, Dallas, and the Dolphins. Lost to New England. They've gotten blown out. Got blown out by a few of those teams from up north. Green Bay, on the other hand, 3-game winning streak, and throwing the tie to Dallas. They lost to Cleveland, so you do have that blip on their record. Cincinnati turns out not a great football team. Arizona, not a good football team, but they beat the Panthers, and we know that I can't do this, though. I did this last week, kind of trying to cross-compare the competition of the Buffalo Bills with the competition of the Panthers and where things were, because there were some similarities. I can't do it this week. Cannot do it, so I'm not going to buy too much into it, but it is to show you, at least a month ago, at one point in time, maybe Green Bay was beatable. For the next piece here, I'm going to take this down for myself and make myself big for you guys. We have a few of the storylines heading into this week. It's a lot on here, and I don't want to show it all up because it's a lot to go through. Number 1, Micah Parsons versus this injured Panthers offensive line. Carolina Panthers line is severely banged up. We're going to talk about that. They've allowed 7 sacks last week. We know that there's a lot going on. Brady Christensen out with the Achilles, put on IR. We're going to talk about who's up, who's down, but trying to contain Micah Parsons by himself and or Rashan Gary, that's going to be big. We're talking about a patchwork line to a certain extent. Now, hopefully, we get a few guys back, Chandler Zavala being one of those, although I'm not holding my breath, but you would look at that as positive news. So that's my first storyline, just Parsons in the pass rush against this Carolina Panthers offensive line. How about Tucker Kraft, the breakout of the cheesehead tight end? He's coming off a career best 7 catches, like we said, 143, 2 touchdowns. He has asserted himself in the team as a reliable pass catcher, red zone threat. We know the Panthers have struggled against tight ends. It's just been a storyline, whether it's the talent, the personnel. Ejiro Evero says it's based off of execution, but for whatever reason, Panthers have struggled against tight ends, so I would look for them to capitalize on this matchup and for him to have another big day, maybe 100-plus yards. I'm just saying. We got that's storyline number 2. Storyline number 3, about some young quarterback competition going on here. Not a lot. Not a lot right now, but Jordan Love, Bryce Young's potential return should be back. You talk about 2 young franchise quarterbacks, Jordan Love with a really nice win over Aaron Rodgers, looking like a good football team here. Big question, though, in Carolina, status of Bryce Young and his ankle, full participant, seems like he's going to be a go. You likely throw Mike White in as the backup. We're going to talk about the transactions that happened. So if something happened to Bryce, he would be in the rotation. Sounds like Andy Dalton likely is going to miss some time as well. So that's number 3. Number 4, the running back rotation. Who gets the hot hand? Who gets the touches based off of everything we've heard with the production of Rico Dowdle, who's averaging over 5 yards a carry, head and shoulders above Chuba Hubbard. You would think that Rico's probably going to lead 2 to 3 series at a time with the rotation of Chuba Hubbard. We'll see how Dave Canales wants to play this out, but I know there's a game plan internally. And for the Carolina Panthers, going up against another good rusher, it's nowhere near some of the talent that you've seen thus far because they've gone up against some good talent, but still Josh Jacobs, someone that can get it going. Emmanuel Wilson shown a few bursts as well. Got to be able to slow them down. But if I am the Packers, I look at what the Bills did and try to execute that. So storyline number 4. Then number 5, Packers' pursuit of staying in that top spot. Really strong record at 5-1-1, the 3-game winning streak. Talk about them trying to be a Super Bowl contender. What does that mean? Stacking those wins in the NFC. And to the flip side, for the Panthers, if there's a way for them to get one out of here, it's pretty good. Getting back to above 500, going on the road. This is a playoff team. You got to start winning some of these games. Again, I'm not saying for the Panthers to be in the playoffs this year, but at least building blocks for the future. We'll see how that one plays out. All right, let's get back into the mix here and take a look at the standings for the time being. Within the NFC South, Tampa Bay leads it, got a 2-game lead at 6-2, Panthers at 4-4, Falcons at 3-4, Saints at 1-7. You do have that in the back of your mind. If the Panthers just sputter out this week, you got them Saints next week. Opportunity. In the NFC North, Green Bay at 5-1, Detroit at 5-2, Chicago 4-3, competitive division. Minnesota at 3-4. A little bit harder to read here, but your upcoming schedule, and it's a little harder to read because this is the full schedule. Remaining stretch. Carolina Panthers, Green Bay Packers this week, followed by the Saints at home, on the road against the Falcons, Monday Night Football against the 49ers, the Rams at home. You get your bye finally, then the Saints on the road at Tampa, Seahawks at home, and then at Tampa. So that final stretch, should the Panthers figure it out, going to have their hands full. And they're going to have a chance. They're going to have a possibility to try to push for a playoff spot. A lot of playoff teams in that mix. We talk about the strength of the schedule and what that looks like for them, how difficult their schedule is down the road. Flipping it over to the Green Bay Packers, doesn't get any easier for them. After the Carolina Panthers, they have the Eagles at home. At least it's at home for them on Monday Night Football, followed by the Giants on the road, Vikings at home, speaking at Lambeau. They travel to Detroit, then they get the Bears at home, travel to Denver. That's going to be a good matchup, or should be. The Bears on the road. You have the Baltimore Ravens coming to Green Bay at that point. I mean, second to last game of the season. Possibility that we have Lamar and this team vying for a playoff spot, so you don't know what you're going to get there. And then on the road against Minnesota. Fun times. All right, let's jump into our NFL Pro preview, just like we do every single week, and keep this show flowing on as we always do. Appreciate you guys who tune in. All right, Carolina Panthers offense, not great. Doesn't help when you have Andy Dalton back there with a broken thumb, but 19.2 points per game is 27th in the NFL. Packers offense putting up 27.6 points per game, which is 5th. They are 10th in point differential at plus 43. There's the Green Bay Packers. Carolina Panthers minus 38, 24th in the NFL. It's not good. Carolina Panthers in that point differential. But record in close game, 3-1. The problem is their losses, the majority of them have been blowouts, so that's why. Green Bay is 1-1. Turnover differential has been a big problem. -5, which is 25th in the NFL for the Panthers. Green Bay Packers are +1, which is 14th. Very low amount of penalties for the Panthers at 46 penalties on the year, 8th in the NFL. Green Bay with 55, which ranks 21st. This line opened up at 11.5. It's up to 13.5 right now. Good at all. Just saying, not looking good for the Panthers. I'm trying to check in on some Thursday night football as I record this. So here we go. Overall passing efficiency. I mean, everything pretty much favors Green Bay. The number 29 passing efficiency offense, and the Panthers against number 17 defense. Really good at rush stopping the run. Packers defense and rushing efficiency is number 5. Panthers offense is number 11. Let's take a look at where things stack up. Being able to contain quarterback scrambles, Green Bay's number 1. Rushing against a light box, they are the number 2 defense. Passing against the blitz, they're number 10. And rushing in shotgun, they're number 3. Intermediate passing is one spot because they are last in the NFL where it favors the Panthers. Packers offense, though, quick passes, number 2 in the NFL. Passing versus no play action, number 4. Allowed pressure is 13th. Passing versus no pressure, number 1. And overall passing efficiency, number 2. They have a really good passing attack. Don't have to run the ball as much when you are that efficient. The only 2 things that favor the Panthers are intermediate passing on the offense and deep passing on the defensive side of the ball. Been able to hold it down there. Rushing-wise, rushing under center versus a stacked box and design runs favor the Panthers. We know that's their strength. That's where they've been able to figure it out. Problem is, when you look over against the Packers, there's a few things on defense, but not many when it comes to rushing. Rushing in the shotgun, we have the number 1 rush defense. You got to run out of shotgun. Quarterback scrambles, number 5. Rushing outside of tackles, number 16, and rushing versus a light box, number 8. So there you have it, folks. Let's talk about some of the key insights for this game. Not many. I guess we'll cycle through them here. Rico Dowdle averaging 5.7 yards per carry, 3rd best in the NFL behind James Cook and Jonathan Taylor. Despite that, he has the 2nd most by any player this season in Panthers history. So Dowdle's 5.7 per carry is the 2nd most by any player in a season in Panthers history, only behind Cam Newton's 5.8 with a minimum of 100 carries. So there you have it. Jordan Love has a 150.3 passer rating with target. That's near perfect. Targeting Tucker Kraft this season. Highest passer rating by a quarterback, receiver, duo, pass catcher with at least 40 attempts. Rico has averaged the 2nd most yards per carry, 6.3, and the highest success rate at 58% among running backs with at least 25 carries directed to the strong side of the formation this season. He's also averaged the most yards before contact per carry, which is 3, and getting the 3rd most yards before contact by volume, 152 among the same group. Opposing defenses have run to the strong side of the formation on a league high 58% of their designed runs against the Packers defense this season, but have gained just the 5th fewest yards per carry. So, running to the strong side, how are we going to manage that this week, as that has been a bright spot for Rico Dowdle. Jordan Love ranks 2nd, top 2 in the NFL by completion percentage, 82.9%. That is ridiculous. And 9.8 yards per attempt and a passer rating of 131.2 when throwing from a clean pocket. Dude can slice and dice like 7-on-7. But when pressured, he falls into the league's bottom 6. Problem is the Panthers can't really generate pressure. And all those metrics representing the largest drop-off among qualified quarterbacks. While he has struggled throwing the ball under pressure, he has effectively avoided sacks, according to recording the 6th lowest pressure to sack rate in the NFL at 13.3%. Panthers' top 3 blitz rates this season have each occurred over the past 3 weeks, as they have blitzed on over 31% of their opponents' dropbacks after having blitzed only 23.7% in weeks 1 through 5. Picking up the pressure any way that you can, which during that time was the 11th lowest rate. When sending 4 or fewer pass rushers, they have tied with 2 other teams for the 4th fewest sacks, while recording those sacks in 5.61 seconds on average, over 1/10 of a second longer than any other defense. They just take a long time. Jordan Love leads the NFL with a plus 31.7 EPA against the blitz this season, averaging 9.5 yards per attempt, throwing 8 touchdowns, both of which rank as 4th. And then Packers receivers have totaled 7 receptions for a league high 146 and 2 touchdowns across 9 targets against double coverage this season. Leading the way are Matthew Golden and Tucker Kraft, who have gained the most and 3rd most yards against double coverage, respectively. So there you have it. Player projections, 182 yards for Bryce, 1 touchdown, 51 yards for Rico. I'd expect way more than that, at least I hope. T-Mac, 60 yards, 4 receptions. Coker working his way back in, 3 for 35, and JT Sanders, 2 for 20. Packers projected to put up, as this potentially loads, we may not get it at the rate that we're going right here. Probably not. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's not right. Unable to see. There we go. Jordan Love, 226, about 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs, almost 79 yards. Romeo Dobbs, 3 for 45. Christian Watson's 2 for 43. Tucker Kraft 4 for 58. All right, let's get into this injury report. This thing goes on and on and on. Brady Christensen is officially removed from this because he was put on IR. XL, Xavier Leggett, battling an illness, did not participate today. Caden Mays with the ankle and knee is likely not playing. He did not participate. Prince Umanmielen likely not going to participate as well. He did not participate. But per Dave Canales, Mays and Umanmielen likely out. Andy Dalton, limited. I wouldn't expect him to come back with a thumb. And the elevation of White, signing him to the active. Damian Lewis, limited. We hope that he's healthy. Same thing with Taylor Moton, Nick Scott, Trevin Wallace, all limited. And the Derek Brown, Jimmy Horn Jr., Bryce Young, and positive news, Chandler Zavala, full participants. On the side of the Packers, Nick Neiman did not participate. Lucas Van Ness, Clay Walker, and Datavian Wicks, all four didn't participate. The rest of these guys, limited. Aaron Banks, Josh Jacobs, Jordan Morgan, Zach Christian Watson, Malik Willis, Devontae Wyatt, and then full participant was Brandon McManus, the kicker. All right, folks, let's see what else we got rolling for you guys. We went over the injury report. We're going to take a look at the depth chart in just a little bit. And some of the transactions. Let's take a look at a few of the team rankings. I always like to compare this as we stack these things up. Carolina Panthers offense, we already talked about points per game. Green Bay giving up 21.4 points, which is 10th in the NFL. They are the number 6 defense in yards allowed. Panthers are number 20 on the offensive side of the ball. 4.9 yards per play for the Panthers offense, giving up 4.6 by the Green Bay defense, number 2 in the NFL. Really good defense. Their third down efficiency, number 5 defense. Panthers are number 23. On the side of the Green Bay Packers, number 5 offense, we talked about in points per game, number 7 in yards, number 5 in yards per play with 5.9, number 2 in third down conversions, number 7 in fourth down conversions. And then on the side of the Panthers, number 20 in points allowed, giving up 24, 11 in yards allowed, 5.5 yards per play, which is 22nd in the NFL, and number 25 in third down conversions at 42%. Green Bay's defense, good against the run, only allowing right now 78 yards per game, number 3 in the NFL. So it's going to be tough. I'm telling you, man, you talk about the pressure, the banged up offensive line, all those things kind of coming together. It just worries. It worries me as a Panthers fan. All right, let's take a look at a few of the transactions here. We're also going to take a look at some of the stats here in just a minute in the depth chart, like we said. But for the Carolina Panthers, they signed Mike White to the active roster. As I mentioned, Brady Christensen got placed on IR, and Jaden Crumedy, who was waived, draft pick from last year, he got signed back to the practice squad. That was anticipated. Panthers looking for outside linebacker depth, signed Trevis Gibson off of the Niners practice squad to the active roster. They also signed Michael Tarkin to the practice squad and released cornerback Michael Reed. Probably expect Boogie Basham to be elevated again this week. We'll see. I don't know. He might be nearing his 3 elevations. I think he's getting there. So once you reach a certain point, you have to sign them to the roster. So we'll see how that plays out there. On the side of the Green Bay Packers, Dante Barnett and cornerback Tyron Herring signed to the practice squad. That was yesterday, the 29th. No other notable news on that side. Let's take a look at the depth chart, talk through some of the possibilities for the Panthers. Bryce Young, hopefully getting the start. Mike White, your backup. Rico Dowdle should be RB1. Chuba Hubbard in the rotation. T-Mac, Jimmy Horn, XL, Bryson Tremaine, Jalen Coker, Hunter Renfrow, probably a healthy scratch. JT, Tommy Tremble, Mitchell Evans, your tight ends. So offensive line, Icky should be okay. As far as we know, he'll be good to go. Damian Lewis, hopefully fine at left guard. Austin Corbett would step in at center, is my guess. And then Chandler Zavala possibly at your right guard. Taylor Moton, right tackle. So Yash would be in the rotation for the swing. And then Jake Curran, who's been filling in, would be in the mix as well, with the possibility for them to elevate Tarkin or one of these other guys for the game day roster. For your defense, as of now, Turk Ward, Nashawn Robinson, Derek Brown, Nick Scorton, Christian Roseboom, Trevin Wallace. Wallace battling the Stinger should be okay. DJ Wonham, Mike Jackson, Trevin Merriggs, Nick Scott, J.C. Horn, Shaw Smith, Wade. In the event Scott's out, you probably have Devontae Richardson or Lathan Ransom, Ryan Fitzgerald, Sam Martin, and Trevor Etienne, TJ Dallas, JJ Jansen for your specialist. Flipping it over to the Green Bay Packers depth chart. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Romeo Dobbs, Matthew Golden, Christian Watson, Tucker Kraft, Rasheed Walker, Aaron Banks, Elkton Jenkins, Jordan Morgan, Zach Tom for the Packers. On the defensive side, Rashawn Gary, Colby Wooden, Devontae Wyatt, Micah Parsons, Edgerrin Cooper, really liked him coming out, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, Keeson Nixon, Evan Williams, Xavier McKinney, Carrington Valentine, and Javon Bullard. Brandon McManus, Daniel Whelan, and Matthew is your punter, place kicker up there with McManus, and your long snapper, Matt Orzek. All right, good stuff there. Let's take a look now at your Carolina Panthers offense led by Bryce Young. Stat-wise, he's sitting at 61.6% completion percentage. That is a big fault that, he's just been very unsuccessful. I want to see that 65, 68% range. 1,200 yards on the season, 5.8 yards per pass, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, been sacked 11 times. Definitely improved on some of the interceptions, which I'll take. Rico Dowdle leads the team at 605, top 5 in the NFL, 4 big runs, 2 touchdowns, 5.7 yards per carry. Chuba Hubbard with 282. Trevor Etienne with 92. T-Mac with 512, again on pace for over 1,000. And to break the Panthers rookie mark, XL with 159. I'd like to see him get back on track. Had a big game a couple weeks ago. Tommy Trimble with 130, Rico 121, Chuba 118, JT, Bryson. We really have spread the ball out well, but we're not a very pass-heavy team with a lot of production. I love to see more of it. Christian Roseboom leads the team, 62 tackles. Merrick 50, Nick Scott 41, Trevin Wallace 39, Mike Jackson 29. Your sack leader, Derek Brown with 3, Ashawn Robinson 2.5, Scorton 2, Princely 1.5, and Turk, Trevin, and Pat Jones on IR, your 1 sack per player. I was trying to see where I was going there. Took me a second to piece all this stuff together. Let's take a look, if we can, at the Green Bay Packers stat line for this season. We'll get into our final predictions here as we close it out. Jordan Love, 1,798 yards on the season, 70.9% completion percentage. I like that. 8.5 yards per attempt, putting up 256 yards per game, 13 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, sacked 10 times, a 112 passer rating. Josh Jacobs, 447 on the ground. We talked about Emmanuel Wilson, 162. Jordan Love scrambling a little bit, 109. Tucker Kraft leading the way, 469 yards. Romeo Dobbs, 350. Golden, 253. Jacobs, 191 in receiving. Dontavian Wicks, 134. Christian Watson just coming back with 85. Take it. It's going to be a piece of it. Quay Walker, 64 tackles, 1.5 sacks. Edgerrin Cooper, 54 tackles. Evan Williams, 43. Gosh, look at these sack numbers, man. Rashawn Gary, 7.5 sacks. Micah Parsons, 6.5 sacks. Those are just really good. Devontae Wyatt, 2. Quay Walker, 1.5. Lucas Van Ness, 1.5. And then half a sack for Kingsley, Gabert, Edgerrin Cooper, Baron Scholar, Carl Brooks. Whew. It's going to be a rough one, I think. Like I said, not trying to put down this team, but it's going to be a tough one. All right, we looked at team rankings. We did injury reports. We looked at all the transactions. Let's take a look at the numbers. Let's make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So this week, what do we got going on now? I'm going to try to make this bigger for me. I don't know why this isn't working, but it's okay. Either way, the screen that I'm sharing looks weird. Let's go over to the side here so I can give you guys the stats. 76.6% chance when I recorded this for Green Bay to win per ESPN Analytics. I'd say that's pretty close. 23.2% for Panthers. We talked about the line opening at 11.5. It's moved to 13.5. 2-touchdown favorite here. And I do think this is Green Bay's game to take. The Panthers would have to steal one. They need some mistakes to fall their way. Run game to really get going for Bryce Young to make some plays down the field. Defense to step up. Got to force a turnover or two. Have some big plays in special teams. Unfortunately, folks, I'm not too excited for this one. I've got Green Bay 31, Carolina Panthers 17. Panthers dropping to 4-5 with a chance to get back to 500. Still stay in the hunt with the playoffs. 7 games to go, hopefully, after the Saints. All right, folks, as always, this is Carolina Dad. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all have a good one.